Have you ever wondered what horrors took place behind the barbed wire fences of Nazi concentration camps? Today, we will shed light on the shocking reality of the brutal punishments inflicted on prisoners in the Dachau Concentration Camp. The Dachau Concentration Camp is a sobering reminder of the atrocities committed during the Holocaust. Established in 1933 near Munich, Germany, it was one of the first Nazi camps used for political prisoners and set the stage for the network of concentration and extermination camps that would follow. The prisoners at Dachau were subjected to a brutal regime of inhumane treatment, including brutal punishments for even minor infractions. At Dachau, prisoners were subjected to forced labor, inadequate food, shelter, and medical care, and were often subjected to physical violence and humiliation. The brutal punishment used at Dachau were designed to break the spirit of the prisoners and maintain control over the camp. One of the most notorious punishments was the standing cell, where prisoners were forced to stand in a cramped and confined space without food or water for days on end. This caused extreme physical and psychological distress, leading to permanent injury or death in many cases. Another equally harrowing punishment was the dark cell, where prisoners were locked in a completely dark and damp cell for days, causing sensory deprivation and extreme fear. The Nazis also used beatings as a form of punishment, often using fists, whips, or sticks to inflict serious injury or death. The punishment cell was another form of brutal punishment, where prisoners were locked in a small, dark cell with little air or light for days at a time. This caused extreme psychological distress and served as a warning to other prisoners. These punishments were a stark reminder of the inhumane treatment that took place at Dachau and served as a reminder of the importance of remembering and honoring the legacy of the victims of the Holocaust. The Nazi guards at Dachau also used humiliation as a form of punishment. This included forcing prisoners to perform degrading tasks, such as cleaning latrines or carrying heavy loads of rocks. They were also subjected to public embarrassments, such as being made to wear a sign around their neck listing their crimes. In addition to these physical punishments, the Nazis also used psychological torture to break the will of prisoners. This included constantly threatening them with death, forcing them to witness the execution of others, and subjecting them to mock trials. The Nazis also created a culture of informers, encouraging prisoners to report on each other and increasing the general sense of mistrust and fear. The conditions at Dachau concentration camp were themselves a form of punishment. The prisoners were subjected to a living hell, with extreme cold, heat, hunger, and thirst being part of their daily existence. They were given inadequate clothing and shelter, which led to the spread of disease and illness. The prisoners were also subjected to forced labor, working long hours with little rest, and given meager rations of food and water that were often insufficient to sustain them. The prisoners were forced to endure these conditions while also facing the constant threat of brutal punishments. The Nazis used the harsh conditions in the camp as a tool of control to break the spirits of the prisoners and maintain their grip on the camp. The legacy of Dachau concentration camp serves as a reminder of the horrors of the Holocaust and the importance of remembering and honoring the victims. The Nazi regime during World War II utilized medical experimentation as a means of tormenting prisoners of war and individuals in concentration camps. These individuals were forced to undergo painful and hazardous medical procedures, frequently without any form of pain relief, for the sole purpose of advancing scientific knowledge. Some of the cruel experiments performed on these prisoners included exposing them to high altitudes to study the effects, infecting them with disease to observe the progression, and injecting them with toxic substances to test the reactions. The atrocities committed during these medical experiments are considered some of the worst crimes committed during the war. The horrors of Dachau and other Nazi camps serve as a warning to future generations of the dangers of hate and prejudice. The inhumane punishments and treatment of prisoners were part of a larger Nazi plan to eliminate those they deemed inferior and to exert control over the population. It is important to remember the lessons of the Holocaust and to ensure that such atrocities never happen again. In conclusion, the brutal punishments used by the Nazis in the Dachau concentration camp were a chilling reminder of humanity's capacity for cruelty and evil. The prisoners were subjected to physical violence, psychological torture, and humiliation, living in a living hell of inadequate food, shelter, and medical care, and forced to endure forced labor and medical experimentation. The memories of these atrocities must never be forgotten, and the lessons of the Holocaust must be taught to future generations to ensure that such horrors are never repeated. We hope this video has shed light on this dark chapter of human history and serves as a reminder of the importance of remembering and honoring the legacy of the victims of the Holocaust. If you found this video informative and thought-provoking, please share it with others and consider subscribing to our channel for more educational content. Together, we can work towards a more just and compassionate world.